and text line. Just let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That is 64686. Standard text message and data rates apply.
So we do Talker Tuesdays, brought to you by Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply, and every week somebody gets a $25 gift card to said establishment in Minnetonka. And, talkbacks really via the free iHeartRadio app, whatever you want to talk about, get it off your chest. They sound like this.
I said a month ago that the Stanley Cup final would be Montreal and Minnesota.
You knew it.
Minnesota didn't hold up their end of the deal, but I believe Montreal's going to.
Okay.
Carolina's going to be too rusty.
Too rusty.
And Carolina, they really hadn't had to play anybody that good. Ottawa wasn't that good. Philadelphia wasn't that good. So I think Montreal will beat Carolina and win the Stanley Cup. Y'all don't know football.
I dig it. Free talkback machine.
After watching those two teams go at it haymaker for haymaker last night, it became very evident to me this Minnesota Timberwolves team needs to make some major roster changes. Julius fumbles, can't be traded fast enough. Rudy, I love what he brings defensively, but he is incompetent when it comes to the offense, and in this day and age, you need a center that provides some offense. Also, they can't be moved to the Eastern Conference fast enough.
Hey, thanks for the talkbacks. Free iHeartRadio app. Barbecue bent to this hour. Welcome, Aaron from Northern Fire. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Thanks for having me back.
No, and I love doing this because this time of year, listeners of the Fan love barbecue. You know this.
Good to know.
You're a listener of the Fan, and you love barbecue.
Absolutely.
You've kind of made it. That's kind of your bit, if anything.
It is my bit.
A big part of your identity. So in studio here, I was thinking about it. So Aaron Rye wins the PGA over the weekend. I'm like, this is kind of the first major this weekend for barbecue. I mean, we got
it is
Memorial Day weekend, 4th of July. We have Labor Day weekend, and then we got Turkey Day, and we're all spatchcocking turkeys. So I wanted to jump in with you, and I got plenty of questions to get to. But first, Jordan Lee.
Now that we're on the other side of the important business of the playoffs, we can get back to the more important stuff of barbecue, right?
Well, how about that? How quickly this goes, man.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever I see you, especially most recently over the last month, every other freaking day is a new game. Every other day is a new opportunity. And we need to tie up the series. We can close out the series. We can extend the series. All of those things. And now it's nothing.
Yep.
And hey, we got our favorite soccer team, our baseball teams playing every day, the Lady Lynx. We dig all of that. But two of our squads in the playoffs snuffed out in what feels like a heartbeat. So to that end, it's barbecue season.
Here we go.
Indeed. You saw Jordan Leopold in the hallway as you were coming in, crossing paths, two ships in the night.
Right. One professional to another.
He had asked when he was on the air, and I don't know if you heard this while you were stuck in the elevator, kind of that little security entrance that we have there.
No,
it feels lonely, and you're at the mercy of whatever station it happens to be on at that time. But he was asked, competition in judging ribs. Now, I'm not a competition cook, you know this, but to that end, how does the average person get into competition cooking? If they're thinking about it, they're like, and this all starts, by the way, when you're sitting at home and you make that rack of ribs or you make that brisket.
Yep.
And the 5, 8, however many people are at your house, they're all like,
yep, friends, family, neighbors.
This is the best thing I've ever tasted.
And they do a terrible thing and tell you that you should do this for a living.
and then you get into it and you open a shop. It's called Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply.
We love it. But I think that's kind of the universal story of barbecue. Everybody does, whether or not you're like us and you make a barbecue sauce, or you make a killer rack of ribs and your neighborhood blows up, and all of a sudden, you find out that the bar down the street's going to have a rib contest, and hey, there's $1,000 on the line. Let's go cook ribs in a parking lot. And And I always joke, like every time we go to a contest, they have a tradition of asking people if is this your first contest? Have you done this before? And so we're in a room full of 50, 60, 70 people or whatever, and somebody raised their hand, and we're like, oh, great. Can't wait for this guy to get his little pig trophy. See you next weekend, buddy. But that is what happens. Though people, it's crazy how people find hobbies, especially later in life, or when you got kids and you're stuck at home or whatever, and you get into barbecuing. And
that's how I got into it.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of cool like cul-de-sac contests. You just kind of graduate your way from, those bar parking lots into the Kansas City Barbecue Society, or the backyard side, which is just chicken and ribs. And then if you stick with it long enough, you do what we do, and you end up on the pro side where you're doing chicken ribs, pork shoulder, and brisket at every contest all over the country. And you could go all over the world if you want to. So,
wow. Just chicken and ribs, though. Start simple.
Yep. Yeah. Just 2. Yep. You don't have to stay there all night. Yeah. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay. Now there's a massive difference between what I'm cooking on my Yoder at my house and what you're cooking in the competition.
I don't know about massive. There are some differences. I mean, so we get judged on appearance, taste, and tenderness. So we do a lot to make sure that we get the color we want. We get tenderness is obviously it's a weighted scoring. So taste and tenderness is heavier than appearance. So, but it's a lot more that goes into it. We're doing a lot of injecting and seasoning the night before, and a little more time and attention probably. But end result, you could probably make a rack just as good as us, but different process.
So when Leo was in, he was talking, he loves fall off the bone ribs. There's a reason you create the window in competition, right?
Yeah.
And that's just, if everyone's is just fall off the bone, it's pulled pork.
Anybody could do that.
But to hit that window, you kind of create, again, a standard that everyone's got to meet and a bar that everyone has to cross.
Yeah, it's kind of like you want to see, like biting an apple. When you bite into the rib, obviously, you want it to be tender and moist. But you should be able to take a bite off that rib without the bone falling off, out in your hand. And that's where it gets, especially with ribs, it gets tricky. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. But
I don't know. I don't mind it. Bone's good.
Yeah. Well, pulled pork on a stick, I guess. Sure.
But it's delicious.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Can't argue that.
No, sir.
The fall off the bone or whatnot. One thing that I was struck by when we were talking, I was at your shop asking you stupid questions like I am now, only we're doing it on the radio. But I was in the store and you were talking about for a competition, and I think this may have been Kansas City, where the elevation in Kansas City, it's either like 600 or 700 feet or 800 feet or whatnot.
Yeah, it's about 900 feet above sea level.
900 feet above sea level. Well, that impacts the boiling temperature.
Yeah, it changes it slightly at 900 feet. If you go like in Colorado and it's 5,000 feet, then, water boils at 212 degrees at sea level. But if you're 5,000 feet above sea level, the difference is 203 degrees. That's a pretty huge difference in finish temperature. So it's just something you really got to pay attention to.
But you guys use that stuff. You guys use that stuff when determining finish temps. Some barbecue nerdery.
Do. I mean, it is, especially guys that travel a lot, we pretty much are flatlanders, South Dakota, North Dakota, Iowa, Kansas City. So not a ton of change. But if you're going, all over the country, and some of the guys go all over the world, you really got to be conscious of where you're at, sea level and time and temperature, all those things. We have a 10-minute turn-in window that you can't miss or you get disqualified for a category. So, all of those things affect your cook, and it's something you got to pay attention to and be conscious of.
So with the first major of barbecue, in front of us here, ahead of us, this weekend, what are flavor trends? So you happen to own a shop that sells seasonings and rubs.
Yeah.
And
about 150 of them.
Yeah. One thing that I have noticed is I'm seeing, and you can feel free to tell me if I'm wrong, sweeter on beef, and in some cases saltier on pork.
I hate sweet on beef, but in competition barbecue, for sure, there's an element of sweet on brisket. I don't know if I'd recommend it at home, but I always tell people, do what you like. If you like it, do it. But On a national level, I think, I think pork is actually leaning more savory. I think, the cotton candy sweetness we used to go for, especially like in a state like Wisconsin, now in Minnesota. And I think there's a trend to have a more savory pork and more of a pronounced, meat flavor, which is why you use a high quality meat like Compar Duroc pork, which is going to give you a richer flavor. So, but yeah, I think, the sweet, I think, is going away a little bit.
On pork?
Pork for sure. And beef is, man, I wish I could figure it out. Brisket's been our nemesis lately. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think
Would you like to share with the listening audience your entire recipe and all the secret sauce?
You'd have to have Missy for that.
So when it comes to this weekend, I recently got a different pellet grill, as you know.
Yeah, you did.
And I absolutely love it. But I'm in about 3 different email/text related conversations with people that are trying to get their first pellet grill.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious how you would guide people in that way, because there's a lot of, for instance, on a Yoder, you're going to have potential for open fire cooking, a little higher temps, and just kind of a do it all workhorse. On other ones, you're going to have a little more simplicity. Maybe it's not as high temps. But you like this feature about it. Like, how do you navigate that with people who, they're listening to this, they love barbecue, and, they bake the best ribs they've ever had in their life, but they keep hearing about whether it's a pellet grill or it's a new smoking opportunity. Yep. I've always wanted to try this, but it can be daunting, right? Like, you got big box stores, you got, specialty stores like you. I got this information here. And, everybody says their way is the best. That's one tough thing to navigate through. How do you help people with that?
Yeah, it seems like there's a new pellet grill in the market, or a new version of something that existed, Traeger, Rectech, whatever. Everybody's constantly kind of evolving. One thing I always do, and we do at the stores, is have a conversation with the customer about their lifestyle. Where are you at? How many kids do you have? How old are they? How much time do you have? And then you can kind of guide them into a direction of, both budget and how big a cooker you need. And, but I always recommend that you get more space than you think you need, because I always, there's going to be like a weekend like this one. You get a neighborhood get together. The Vikings win the Super Bowl. There's going to be something going on. You're going to want more space. So, when you look at the $100 to $200 difference, I would say get a bigger cooker. That would be my advice, is for the pellet grills or the offsets like your Anchor Michigan. Might as well have extra room. Bigger briskets. Extra
room. Now, with that said, because, a lot of people they see it. It's like, well, that'll do everything that my old Coleman camper grill. Like, I can grill hot dogs, I can grill burgers on it.
Yep.
That's not necessarily always the case. And what's been fun about watching kind of the evolution of, really when COVID hit, everybody went out and got a Traeger. I think everybody on the planet,
some version of a pellet grill,
version of a pellet grill.
Anything that made fire, we could sell.
And now, like, it's been cool to see Rectech. I think they're in Georgia, maybe.
Augusta.
And they have really come up. I mean, they are just absolutely kicking butt right now in the pellet
they've got some really cool stuff,
and for good reason. Mm-hmm. With that said, I bet you gas grill companies are like,
gas grill companies are doing just fine. It's still they're still the biggest dog on the block when it comes to, most people have a gas grill on their deck. But the gas grills are now evolving to try to eat into some of that pellet grill market.
And is that real? I mean, and is it quality? Because I'm seeing smoke tubes, I'm seeing like pellet drawers, I'm seeing or for wood chips, etc. Is that effective in terms of what they're trying to do versus what the pellet grills do?
The newest stuff, I think it's kind of yet to be seen, because it literally just came out this year. But now there's gas grills that control temperature just like your pellet grill would. So you can set it to 225 and, go about your business, and you got a Wi-Fi controlled gas grill. The pellet, like they've got little smoke boxes that are attached to these things that have their own burners. I think that's definitely going to impart some flavor. Whether or not you can cook a brisket on a gas grill, I think is yet to be seen, but that's what they're trying to give you the opportunity to do, is more than just, grill some burgers.
Well, it does seem more like a kind of a flavor booster. Because
it is for sure.
Functionally, with some of these little trays and stuff.
Yep.
I mean, the 6-hour cook is going to be problematic.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, if I went back 15, 16 years ago, I had a Weber gas grill on my deck, and I would just throw a chunk of, oak on the right above the burner, and you could do similar things without all that technology. But
well, and you can even do that really in any charcoal grill now too.
Oh, for sure,
if you want to,
for sure.
Just set up the charcoal and throw some chunks in there, and you're partying.
Yeah, for sure.
No, that's super cool. In terms of, well, this is where we get to. So let me play a talk back for you, because I got some text messages and things, and this is where we're just going to flex your elite barbecue mind.
Oh boy,
you cool with that? Okay, let's try this talk back first.
Good morning, Nordo and Double B. Ryan from Duluth here. I really don't think the Wolves belonged in that game last night, and I don't think they will until they can get a more athletic big man to defend Wemby. Right. Maybe Johan Berenger can be that guy. Who knows? Also, a question for Aaron. So I do some fishing on Lake Superior, and just wondering what he would recommend for brining and smoking salmon and lake trout.
How about that?
Brining, I think if, most of the traditional stuff for salmon would be kind of a brown sugar brine. Salt and brown sugar, and don't brine it for too long. Maybe overnight would probably be maybe too long. So
overnight, so maybe more like just 6 to 8, or even less.
2 to 4, probably
2 to 4.
It's you really don't need to go too long on that, I wouldn't think. But
throw it on a plank.
Cedar, you can do cedar plank for sure. You really don't have to if you But cedar plank on a gas grill is going to give you more flavor. On a pellet grill, I don't think it does a lot. On a pellet grill, you can just put it on the rack and you're going to get pretty good flavor. But lake, it's that season, fishing. I gotta rejigger my game and start to think about all the fish ingredients.
Another talk back.
What up, boys? Good barbecue morning. I think the most important question here, and what everybody wants to know, is how do I become a judge? I mean, cooking's great and all, but it's all about the eating. Get me in there.
We need more guys like that. So judging is, so all of the contests that we cook, if it's a KCBS sanctioned event, then you have to be a KCBS certified judge, which means you take a class and they teach you kind of what we're trying to do. So it's not just whether or not you like what you like, personally. We're trying to hit some targets for tenderness and flavor and appearance. So you take a class, if you go to the Minnesota Barbecue Society, they usually host a class, and I think, the gal that runs Bringing Home the Bacon, Lori Tweeten, down in, La Crosse area, she's got a judges class, down there. I think it's coming up here pretty quick. At least she does it every year, I believe. But, you take a class and then, you get certified after that class. It's pretty simple. It's not a pass-fail thing. And you go to your first contest and you sit at a table with 5 other people and you get to try a boatload of some of the best barbecue on the planet. So,
that's sweet.
Yeah. Bring your appetite. It's a lot of food.
Well, I'm going to become a judge then.
Let's do it.
I'm just going to stop cooking and start eating. Last thing for you. I always like to do when I have you in here, just like Minnesota, like a shout out effectively, like Minnesota companies, because, you can go to a grocery, and by the way, there's a reason that, for instance, Sweet Baby Ray's is Sweet Baby Ray's, and they fill up shelves, and people love them and take them home, etc. There are those that exist, and that's totally cool. But on the local side, like we got guys on the grind, like as like a third little side piece job, they have a sauce. As a third side piece job, they got a rub, etc. Who are some fun Minnesota-based companies that pop into your head as just flavors you love and products you love?
Yeah, so we've got the Minnesota shelf at our shop, and there's a bunch of good stuff up there. There's a new company called Northwoods out of Lakeville area. He's got great product. All barbecue sauces, no dry rubs. There's Smokin' Brothers. They've been around. Smokin' Bros. They're actually Hudson area, but we throw them on the Minnesota shelf. We figure they're close enough. They've got they're all dry rubs, but a really good collection of dry rubs. I think they've got 8 or 9 now. Quite a few. And then there's a craft barbecue guy, Lightfield Barbecue. Troy has got
Lightfield
some just
sauce
crazy
is
stuff.
Yeah.
Some his new mole. God, I can't even think. Jalapeno. It's nuts. I can't.
It's
I told
like a
him
pineapple habanero
he's got
sauce,
that
maybe?
too. Yeah, he's got a pineapple bomb that's pretty crazy. But yeah, there's a bunch of them. There's more of them all the time. I would definitely say, that you really there's all the national guys, them Meat Churches and Heath Rouse and whatever. But there's some really good local brands too. Ope is a good one. That sells, really well. They're really pushing on social media and stuff. They're doing a great job, but they have a great product too. The husband and wife team.
By the way, if you're listening and you have a local barbecue angle, just toss it into the text line or the talkback 64686.
Oh, and shoot, I forgot
the free
to mention
radio app.
Puck's Barbecue, so Puck's local hockey.
Oh, we know
guy.
Puck's. We love Puck's.
If I don't mention Puck's, I think James is going to be calling me here.
We'll get text messages.
There's a lot of great stuff. I would say check out our Minnesota shelf. Support your local barbecue nerd.
Absolutely. What are you cooking this weekend?
Funny, you're in a barbecue family. It's our middle kid's birthday on Monday, actually. So, you're in a barbecue nerd family when your kid. He's 27 now, so he's hardly a kid. But he wants al pastor and skirt steak tacos. It's like, okay,
that sounds amazing.
It is, and I'm actually looking forward to it. It's been a while since I've done al pastor, so it'll be a fun project for Monday on the deck.
All right, it's the first of 4 majors. You're ready for it. I'm ready for it. The listeners are ready for it. I appreciate you stopping in, brother.
Meat sale. 15% off all meats this weekend at Northern Fire.
That's Aaron from Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply. Talker Tuesdays brought to you by Northern Fire. Local barbecue angles always accepted. Free iHeartRadio app, talkbacks, or the text machine. And we're going to continue. We're going to deviate back to sports and then sports trivia during the final stretch. Stump the Snob makes a short-term return with JG and 10 of B. Final hour. It's Nordowin for PA on the Fan.
The Fan at BigDeck.com. I'm going to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com. The keyword is grand. The keyword is grand. KFAN.com. Keyword grand.
You're listening to Eric Nordquist in for Paul Allen on The Fan.
From the 1-800-ASK-GARY Traffic Center.
This is back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. It's every hour from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. 10 are keywords, and to learn more, head to KFAN.com. Bonus bucks is presented by BigDeck.com.
Jeff in Duluth, the slow descent into the abyss has officially begun. I love barbecue. I can't help it. It's a Talker Tuesday presented by Northern Fire. And I love supporting local barbecue companies in particular. And, I got this text, Mike in Chaska. Any good suggestions to get barbecue in Minnesota this summer? Buddy Boy in St. Bonnie. You're in Chaska. You're familiar with that. Big Boar in Hanover. Both awesome spots. There's no doubt about that. Elsewhere, of course, let me see here. Animales is unbelievable. I think that's in Minneapolis. Q Fanatic. There are a bunch of them. And, some of the best stuff I've had is really just stumbling upon like random food truck bits. Animales would be an example of that. So, options, that exist if you love a spot. 64686 on a Talker Tuesday. I asked, local sauces. Riff's barbecue sauce out of Arden Hills. Local sauce. Dig that. Beer's Black Dog Barbecue in Bemidji. Not familiar, but it probably is awesome. JJ's Barbecue in Nelson, Wisconsin. Chuck's Not So Famous barbecue sauce out of Marine on the St. Croix. Very good, he says. That's another texter. Wee Willie's out of Afton. Now, I've heard of that. I think that's I'm going to struggle. I'm going to hopefully get this correct. I think that's a family, like that's a husband and wife team. I think Wee Willie's is. I believe so. I could be wrong on that, and feel free, 64686, to tell me if I am wrong. But thank you for all the suggestions and keep them coming, by the way. I love trying new stuff. Scott Jamama's in South Minneapolis for great ribs and chicken. Scott Jamama's. What a sweet name. Check that out in South Minneapolis for Northern Barbecue out of Big Lake. That's another one. Yeah, see, that's the tough, like I've talked with Aaron about it. I've talked with other buddies of mine that barbecue. The reason I asked him about just kind of trends and flavors. So, on the competition side, you listening, me talking, we're not participating in any competitions, not at least at a high level. I've been thinking there's this one, I think it's in St. Peter. It's called Minnesota in May. And I've been thinking about jumping into the backyard side of it. I'm not a pro, but do ribs and chicken just to compete. And frankly, the barbecue community itself is so much fun. There's a socializing angle of it. You're meeting people. You're getting potentially tips or advice. For me, I've never had a problem just being honest when I'm super new to something. It's like, I don't know anything, man. Like, I want to learn and I want to get good at it. And so ask all the dumb questions and, just throw yourself into a backyard competition. There's some of them, I see them kind of on the skirts. You get in for like $100, make some sweet chicken and ribs and have a blast with it. But I asked him about the trends and flavors because traditionally flavor has lacked. The Minnesota, I guess I've made a joke about it, mild salsa and tater tot hot dish. That spice is, whether we're averse to it or allergic to it, traditionally there have been foods that have lacked a little pop, a little zest. And I think that's changing. But still in the competition world, again, you're not bowling somebody over with some super hot barbecue sauce that'll stick in their mouth for the next half hour and basically taint and half a competition, which might actually, that would be brilliant or terrible. Maybe don't take my advice. Super spicy submission into a contest. But for me, when I cook brisket, for instance, typically on a big brisket, I'm going to do traditional beef rubs of some sort. A lot of, Livia's is a Minnesota company. It's just SPG, salt, pepper, and garlic, and just season the bleep out of that thing. And it's as good as it gets when it's done. But for instance, on steaks, I've started gravitating towards more of a sweeter flavor. And I don't know why. Sweet and beef, historically, as you heard, and Aaron can't stand it himself. He's, salt and pepper. Just keep it simple, stupid. That's his vibe to it. And it's delicious, of course. But sweet on beef, and then now on the other side of it, I personally have gravitated away from the sweetest, the honey barbecue. When we wrap those ribs, we're going to grab Mike's Hot Honey or just regular honey, and we're going to use this super thick rib candy or apple juice or cider, et cetera, whatever you use. No cider in the wrap, for me at least. But I want it as sweet as possible. And then I'm looking for a super sweet sauce that I'm going to maybe brush it with while you wait for it to truly finish on the smoker. I've kind of gravitated to a saltier, a more peppery pork. And that's, kind of my evolution. Flavor trends change. We like what we like, but it's so much fun, even having these sorts of these conversations. I mean, look, Ted Cooks, what is that, the 19th hole? I think that's elite. Ted Cooks, for sure. I'm getting on the text line. Like, all of you have your favorite spot. Roosters on Rand. I've been to Roosters. Yeah. Baker's Ribs. That's OG. That's like 30 plus years. Smokey's Pub and Grill in East Bethel. I wonder if that's right up Highway 69 there. Family run joint. I dig that. Oh, no way. Big Boar's now open as a drive-through. Oof. Man, it's a good thing. It's a good thing I live near that drive-through. Holy cats. I already got to trim it down a little bit. But yeah, the evolution of flavors, I think we're getting more savory. I think across the board, I think we are starting to see heat. That's selling a lot better in our area. And it's just the barbecue. It's kind of underrated. It still it's got to go a long way. I ain't trying to say the Minneapolis is Kansas City. The cultural phenomenon that barbecue is in that area. It ain't sweet like Carolina, but the flavor and the evolution of barbecue in this region is growing quickly. So whether you just want to try new flavors, whether you want to get into competition, like those options exist for you. And it's just awesome to see that continuing to grow. And for me, it started when COVID hit. Baby Ava and Stella, everybody's stuck at the house, and I want to cook. I want to do something. I want to get outside, get some fresh air. And so I bought my first pellet smoker. And that's when I became buddies with the Northern Fire Crew. And they've answered all my stupid questions, and they've helped me fix all my ridiculously dumb mistakes for a half decade and counting. A beautiful thing that it is, barbecue here in Minnesota. Let's pause, and we'll come back. We'll get some news, and then we'll continue on a Talker Tuesday before JG and B. JG and Tenna B join at 11 for Stump the Snob and some sports trivia. It's 9 to noon.
You're listening to Nordo in for PA on The Fan. Joy.
I can't help myself. I'm sorry. Jim in St. Paul, any recommendations for what rub to use on grilled dry rub chicken wings? Well, my favorite of all time is, I think it's by Whiskey Bent. It's called Blazing Bird. And I feel bad because I had just been talking about supporting local companies, and we should, Minnesota companies, 100% if we can. But Blazing Bird does happen to be my favorite of all time. And then one thing that I'm kind of getting into, check out Cattleman's Grill. I think it's Ranchero. I forget but Cattleman's Grill has been something that I've been trying a lot of recently. Cosmos is another one that has terrific flavors as well. But are you looking for heat? Are you looking for sweet? I mean, the options there are endless. But Blazing Bird, for me personally, happens to be my favorite. I would use that on your wings. And I hope it's good. But we're not talking about barbecue, I guess, for now. We got to pause. So we're going to do News to Nord, which is brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park, CanterburyPark.com. Live racing at Canterbury begins this weekend. So get to CanterburyPark.com, learn about the post times, and maybe while you're there, you're feeling the felt with some poker and blackjack and table games. Canterbury Park lifts off this weekend. It's going to be awesome. CanterburyPark.com. Where are we headed to first, Brett?
Number 1.
You ever seen something that you're like, I just can't believe this is real life, like this is reality? Well, there's a Twins news story, but in relation to that is something I can't believe is real life. So,
okay.
Earlier today, Meat Sauce tweets that Royce Lewis is being sent to AAA. He's being sent to St. Paul.
Okay.
And then I see on Twitter from a account, I think a podcast, Talkin' Baseball, where it says Twins are sending Royce Lewis to AAA. The 2017 number 1 overall pick is hitting 163 with a 539 OPS. That's not very good. And then in their little graphic, it has Royce Lewis. It says AAA. And at the bottom, it says via Paul Lambert on X. I just can't believe. Do we need to call Meat Sauce? And now, 30 seconds ago, Sauce tweets again, sources Lewis is being sent to Fort Myers. So now I don't know what to believe, because is Meat Sauce now an official newsbreaker in the baseball world?
Well, so let's handle the A topic of Royce Lewis is that it's dreadful, man. It's absolutely dreadful. And when you're a team as fledgling and not even middling as you are, but you're going to be on the grind just to look competent for the balance of this season, the bullpen and the way it is, how many different kids you're trying to raise in the big show at the same time. You need Buxton to do his thing. He's doing it. You need the Jeffers of the world. And what a terrific start to the season he's had for the most part. You need some, hey, this is kind of a thing, and it's going to be good. Austin Martin providing some of that. You needed Royce to be your guy. He needs to be what Buxton is offering you right now, and it just hasn't been the same for like a year and a half, it feels like. And it's brutal, man. I've seen, have these injuries kind of taken away some of his power, his mobility, and has that affected his swing? I've seen all sorts of takes and talkers on it, but it's just dreadful. So You had to be sent down. Secondly, any joking, all bits aside, Meat Sauce is plugged in.
I am aware of that.
Yeah. So
yeah, I know he
so
knows
this is
people.
not. So this is. I mean, I got to be honest. I'm feeling like it was a little anticlimactic, the build-up, because Sauce is plugged in.
I get that, but
he's got good sources.
I understand, but seeing an official podcast say this news via Meat Sauce is just funny.
Did he work hard to attain those sources? I would say no, but he is a terrific, jovial human being that people love, and so when he says sources and something's happening, trust in the sauce. That's all I'm saying. Just trust in the sauce. But yeah, he's an MLB insider. He's an Egan insider. He's a Target Center insider. Might be a Grand Casino Arena insider. You never know.
Johnny Athletic insider.
You never know. So when Meat Sauce says it's happening, at least as it pertains to information that he received from somebody else, I was kind of worried during the morning show this apparent apparition that he is experiencing in his home right now. I think that's ridiculous, but he's an insider. Let's give Saucy some credit where Sauce is deserved.
The tweet a couple minutes ago with Lewis is being sent to Fort Myers. First response: thanks, Buster. Only. We were talking with Lavelle yesterday, and Lavelle actually texted me because now, since I can't help myself, the continuing theme, Petey's Texas Barbecue, which used to be available at Allery's, has moved to South St. Paul. So Petey's Texas Barbecue. Check it out. Again, let's just give shout-outs to local barbecue today. I love that. And it's making me hungry, to be honest. Maybe it's making you hungry, too. But we were talking, things to be excited about. Taj Bradley's going to find his way back to the mound. I don't want to say that's found money. You acquired him, but he's living up to it. And he's kind of punching above his weight right now, and we dig that. And hopefully that becomes the standard. Buxton and Jeffers mentioned that, but just give me a break with this Royce thing. And it's frustrating, too, given, kind of similar to Buxton, right? Like, when is he going to do this? And now he's doing it. But you waited so long, you waited through all the injuries and this expectations, the promise of that. And it hopefully continues to pay off the way it has the last season and change now. But with Royce, it's just the injuries. He'll come back, and then he hits a home run in his first at bat. It's just he's unstoppable, and we just need to find a balance, and we just need to find a baseline of health. That's what we need, not a balance, a baseline of health. And again and again and again, and it happens. I never go through slumps. Now he's deep in the depths of one at this particular stage. So thanks to our resident insider, Meat Sauce Paul Lambert, for his tremendous reporting. And the things you hear,
we're going to get the city right. We're going to figure that out exactly where he's going. I think he just took the light rail to St. Paul. So I think it was just a green line situation. But thank you to our insider, Paul Meat Sauce Lambert.
Well, the things you hear inside the bill, because Lavelle was in studio yesterday, and during the peaceful transition of power, Common says, if I could guarantee you a World Series, but you had to trade Royce Lewis, would you do it? That has not aged well for our friend Lavelle Neal.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but it happens to the best of us.
I think half the things we say on a daily basis don't necessarily age well. And
correct.
Really, we just we kind of hide. We benefit from attention spans. Here's a talkback, by the way, Talker Tuesday on Royce Lewis.
Hey guys.
Hey,
it's John in Woodbury.
Hey, John.
Commenting on your Royce Lewis news.
Yeah.
Does it really matter?
Oh.
Does it matter? Does it really matter whether he goes to Fort Myers, whether he goes down to AAA, whether he stays? Does it really matter, guys? It doesn't. Oh. Everyone knows it doesn't. Even Twins fans knows it doesn't.
So that's the sentiment of the baseball team fan base right now.
Yep.
Thank you. I appreciate it, John in Woodbury. What's next?
Number 2.
There was a handful, well, not a handful, but there were 2 huge games that went into overtime yesterday. If you want to just sit on the couch and watch both of those, here was one, and we'll go the French version.
Carrier, la rondelle le frappe. La ligne, fin de tir. La ligne, longe la ligne bleue, disque perdu, et Carrier s'empare de la rondelle libre. Carrier, la passe, on entre avec New York.
What's going on?
Le tir, et le but!
Oh.
Victoire des Canadiens!
Now I get it.
New York propulse le CH en finale de l'Association de l'Est!
So good. The Canadiens win in Game 7. You know what's funny about that game is that if you just look at the stats and if you watched any of the overtime, it felt like it was a matter of time until the Sabres scored. And they had the Canadiens goaltender flopping like a fish all around the crease. They had him out, hung him to dry, and just couldn't get the puck in the net. And all it takes is one rush the other way for Montreal, and that's your ball game. So Montreal moves on Eastern Conference Finals, and we've got our conference finals set to face a team that just came off probably a trip to Cabo, maybe somewhere else tropical. They had a training camp, had another vacation, and now we're going to play a hockey series in the Hurricanes.
Yeah, 12 days off. It's crazy. Yeah. Rest or rust would be a talker, I suppose, into that first game, which starts, I believe, on Thursday. And, I mean, how Carolina has looked, as long as they're not losing that, I think it's Colorado and the Canes in the Stanley Cup final, and you're on your own after that. So, to the NBA, I suppose?
We can do that.
The Spurs have stolen Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals and an instant classic here in Oklahoma City. The Spurs in double overtime dispose of the Oklahoma City Thunder 122-115.
Yeah, this is a situation for me where I had it on. I wasn't watching dribble for dribble, but I saw...
Of course you weren't.
Are you surprised? But I saw things that very much impressed me. An alien-like three from... Wemby, just from the logo, like a Caitlin Clark distance three, in clutch time too. SGA hit another one to kind of extend things, but double overtime before the Spurs pulled away. And they steal Game 1. That, as we know, as Wolves fans, that doesn't mean anything because Wolves stole Game 1 and it didn't end up well in that series. So, but still, entertaining game that's going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight between these two.
The only thing that we need to know and just come to terms with is that we didn't belong there. That's and I would have preferred we won the series and had a chance to combat and to go up against the Thunder in a rematch with last year's Western Conference Finals. But the truth of the matter is that we didn't belong there. And the trading of punches in the heavyweight fight, the class of the West, sadly, what could be the future of the West, like half-decade plus, in terms of GMs around the conference and, frankly, around the NBA, trying to figure out, using draft currency, building rosters, not to beat Jokic, not to beat the Nuggets, but to beat Wemby. How do we defend Wemby? How do we defend? I mean, if SGA is going to have an off night, no big deal. You're going to have Alex Caruso and the stupid upside-down headband scoring 31 on you. That is the depth and just the insane way when you look at these rosters, how they've been constructed, and it's beautiful, and it hurts as a Wolves fan to know that we did not belong in last night's game. That was not for us. We are not ready for us, for the big kids table, so to speak, in terms of what the Spurs and Thunder were offering last night. It was an awesome game. Should be an awesome series. 49 minutes for Wemby sounds like a lot. I wonder how either the Spurs try to figure that out in terms of limiting his exposure physically. They were banging him around last night, and over the course of a long series, does that impact him? So we'll see how they trade punches and how they both adjust for Game 2. That's News to Nord, brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park. CanterburyPark.com. Live racing starts this weekend in Shakopee. Go check it out. When we return, a sports trivia game returns. Stump the Snob, sports trivia featuring Justin Gard, 10 of B. Brandon Molesky. Kind of a producer's bent to this one. Final hour next on The Fan.
It's Eric Nordquist in for Paul Allen on